We all go a little mad sometimes.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
They're here.
Hi,
How?
I'm Lee, and I want to be in the sequel. And in the sunlight.
And I'm Nathan, and I want to be friends with these housekeepers because she's the only Irish one in this.
She is a deceptive type of lady, though. You could have just told me all this from the jump when you got here. I'm religious. I read the Bible. There's ghosts in there, okay?
Strangely, though, considering she's so religious, she doesn't believe in ghosts, which is weird.
I mean, she also doesn't take a lot of convincing. Do you know what I mean? She has,
Yeah.
2 ghost encounters, and then she's like, well, it's the end of eternity, children. And you're listening to They're Here.
They're here.
Podcast.
A discussion
And dissection.
of all things horror.
Fear. And how macabre.
Oh, the shrew! Bring me the shrews!
I love Nicole Kidman in this movie.
Yes, we are talking about 2001: A Space Odyssey. No, we're not.
We're talking about The Others.
La Otras.
We don't
Because
do
it
that
was
here.
a Spanish film.
So, it's filmed in Spain.
Filmed
but
in
set
Spain?
in Jersey. Actually filmed just north of Spain, but set in Jersey.
I thought it was set in, it's like a French countryside something / Normandy type area.
No.
I just got that
Because
all
Daddy went
entirely
off to France to fight the Nazis. The baddies.
Baddies?
Yeah. You can't go to France from France. No, they're in Jersey. They're on an island.
They're on an island.
Which is why, also just the idea of Nicole Kidman being like, during 5 years of an occupation, I managed to never have one Nazi set foot inside this house. And I'm like, what a bad bitch. You know? She doesn't show hesitation to just pull out that, hunting rifle.
I love
in a
that.
second.
Yeah.
In, a 1910s, just the outfits,
Gown.
the fashions.
Yeah.
I live.
So, yeah, 2001, The Others.
Uh-huh. Them over there.
Executive producers.
By Tom Cruise.
And Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
That's fucking nuts, bro.
Not really. I mean, they were married.
Yeah, but they would also... It was the last time they ever worked together because they separated only a few months after, shooting had wrapped and
They
their
had just done
divorce...
Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah, their divorce was finalized the week this movie came out.
Yeah. But he's a freak. That's the thing. There's something about he only ever marries women who are a certain age, even when he keeps getting older, whatever. He's a Scientologist. He's the Scientologist. Tom Cruise is a freak. No, for real. They have a thing called Cacon that if Tom Cruise or somebody higher up, if they killed somebody in front of a bunch of Scientologists, those other Scientologists would have to cover up for them.
Wow.
Confirmed. Which means it totally could have already happened. John Travolta, I'm looking at you.
Well, yeah, so the film was actually a Spanish production and shot entirely in Spain with a Spanish crew, including the writer-director Alejandro Amenabar.
And nobody speaks Spanish, and nobody is Spanish on
Despite
set.
it being
On the
entirely in English, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And it also got a Goya Award, which, because for the lack of a single word of Spanish in this film, because obviously Goyas are the Spanish version of the BAFTAs.
Uh-huh. So,
basically, this is, the first time an English film, an English Spanish-produced film had ever been, made.
I mean, there's literally only probably 4 English people on set.
True. The whole thing. And can I just say, the first thing that I really want to speak of is how beautiful this film is.
Yes, I love this movie so much.
Utterly stunning. Every shot, the lighting,
it's so moody.
The set dressing, the mood, the costume design, everything was just down to the most minute of details. And there's one specific thing that I keep going back to is the note that I read about Nicole Kidman when she's running from she hears the boy Victor, quote unquote, crying, and she's running from one kid to the other.
Yeah.
And while she's running, it's through a hallway by the stairs, but the light moves in such a direct way that it can't have come from the actual lamp that she's holding.
She actually
But
has
it
a
was
line
beautiful.
where it's this house is a ship and we must contain the light as if it was water.
Yes.
I love that. I think
Yeah.
that's really, really cool. Yeah, I just think Nicole Kidman needs to be in more horror.
You know what, honestly, I would agree. I think she does really, really well with what she's given, and she kind of takes it from a reserved,
like she could have been Margaret
erudite.
White in this movie.
Yes,
You know, but she's not. She like, you do feel terrible for her the whole time.
yeah, she could have been like, she's that what you call it, aristocratic wife. At A, and then when she gets to F, she's like, you know, an upset mother, and then when she gets to, you know, Z, she's like manic and crazy and running around the house with a shotgun. She does really, really well.
Yeah.
And I really do love her acting abilities. And I also got to commend the kids who are in this film.
Anne is one secret little bitch. I would smother her too. Seriously, it's like, stop fucking breathing like that right now.
Well, I gotta say,
You
like,
bitch.
that seems to be your word of the day. You little bitch.
Normalize
You bitch.
calling children bitches.
But she does hold her own, and like a lot of those scenes that the daughter has to deal with, and you know, obviously, like dealing with kids on movies sets can be like either a blessing or a total curse.
Well, a lot
And
of
this
people
was a
attribute
blessing
like
for sure.
good kid acting directly to the director, which I don't think is always fair, because like,
It kind of takes away from the actual...
children are technically people.
Yeah.
You know? But like, no, I think these two little kids, like, they sell it. Like, there's actually one scene in particular where Anne is talking about Victor being in the bedroom.
Yes.
And Nicholas is like, he's like, don't tell me, or whatever like that. And he like turns away and he's like, leave me alone. And she's like, oh, if you're really in the room, come and touch him on his cheek. And then she like touches him on the cheek, and this kid just freaks out.
Yeah.
And like fully watching this movie, knowing what the end is and everything like that. I was watching this last night at like fucking 3:30. I didn't finish this movie until literally 5 a.m. until like after 5 a.m. And I remember being like, oh my god, my like palms are like getting sweaty.
Yes.
Like I'm getting like nervous and stuff, even though I know exactly what's gonna happen. But like, fuck, it's just like a good classic ghost story.
Yeah.
Sort of. This takes inspiration from Turn of the Screw.
Yeah.
But also I feel like that's just going to be any ghost story or any ghost movie after a certain point.
You have a load of films like House on Haunted Hill, you have The Haunting, you have the others. All of these films are, and you have all the Netflix series, Bly Manor and that other one.
Again, two separate books.
Yeah, they're
one
all
is based
sort of
on The Haunting of Hill House, and one is based on The Turning of the Screw.
And they're just done. They're just sort of like, I think in my opinion, like this is the candle that holds ghost stories or ghost story movies to it. It's like the standard that they have to reach, in my opinion.
The others,
yeah.
Well, it's just because like it's weird. It's the kind of movie that would have been made 60 years ago.
Yes.
But now, and with Tom Cruise involved.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just gives me, it is kind of Hammer horror, like that sort of old Universal kind of thing, where it's just like moody. It's like the rooms in this movie are just like unbelievably big, like sort of in the vein of like a Dracula or something like that, where it's like nobody fucking needs a ceiling this high in a room where we eat. You know?
I would say that definitely that one scene that you were just saying was where she touches his cheek. The part where you can hear the kid when the shot is focused on him, but you can hear the Victor in the background
there is moving,
running towards
so
the thing,
scary.
and just rips the curtains open. Oh my god!
Because Anne is on this side of the room, and we can see her, and there's still movement over there.
And you can, oh my god! I literally was like, I jumped, like not a
word
I did.
Of a lie.
There was a bunch of times. There's so many times. Like they do all of these things, and like in the trailer, because I watched the trailer as well, just to kind of get a reference or a feel for what they were trying to sell. And they give away literally nothing.
Yeah.
You get the shots of the drama, you get the shots of the caretakers at the door, and then you just get the others. And then you're just like, whoa. Because like it sold it on nothing. And because you know the way nowadays, like trailers give away,
they have to show you
show you the whole fucking thing in order to sell you on it.
Yeah.
Whereas this trailer was like literally 2 shots of Nicole Kidman looking scared, the kids jumping into the wardrobe, and then the caretakers in the fog standing behind the door.
But also, like, what
would
would you have shown in a trailer for this?
Well, because there's actually nothing.
Because I don't even know if you could convey the ending in a trailer.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of, you kind of have to sit with it for a few minutes. Even that reveal where, like, the kids in the wardrobe and the old lady, like, even though I knew exactly what was happening, I still, like...
Jumped.
Yeah. It's a lot.
And it does it so well because the music, which is also done by Amenabar, when he put the soundtrack together, he didn't want the classic type of music that shows up during like a jump scare or anything like that. He wanted to reference films like The Omen, like this, like that, where
kind of a Charles Bernstein kind of.
Yeah, exactly. It was sort of, it's very slow and it's driven throughout the plot.
Classic.
You know what I mean? And it's done really well. And that one shot where she goes into that room, which randomly has Jesus covered in a shroud, and she looks into that mirror, and she did close the door behind her, and the door opens and slowly closes.
Exactly. That's like exactly what this kind of movie is. It's just like, actually on the Bravo's 100 Scariest Movie Moments, the little section where they talk about this, what's her fucking name? Jennifer Tilly has a moment where she's like, there's something about this movie where being like, oh wait, I thought I left that door closed. That's the kind of scare that this whole movie is. It's just like a, wait, hold on. The one that like really like, got me for some reason is like in the music room where she's kind of like, she's had like the breakdown and she's like sent everybody else to bed and she's the only one up, and I'm like, oh my god, her feet are probably freezing walking around that gaff with no fire on. And she goes into the music room and here's like people kind of like tapping along the keys or whatever like that, goes in and is like, okay, well fuck this, checks the room herself with gun in hand, and then like locks the piano up and goes to leave, and then the door kind of closes itself like twice, and she's like testing it or whatever, and then it just flies shut, but there's
sends her flying back.
But there's no build up in music to it. It just happens, and it's like, it's just so much more effective. It's just you feel so bad for her. She's like the only one like trying to really hold it down. Nobody else actually seems affected by the quote-unquote ghosts in the house at all. I
feel like we should give this kind of like a film just as a quick rundown. So like basically Nicole Kidman's husband, I fully fucked up that word,
Christopher Eccleston.
Yes, which I was like trying to remember who the husband was, and then he showed up. I was like, oh, it's him. Has gone off to war, and she's taking care of her kids who have a photosensitive
they're allergic to
light. And this is actually real, by the way. That's a real thing.
I don't think the kids are.
No, they're not. They probably did have the aversion, spoiler alert, when they were alive, but when they died, she didn't realize that, so she did the same thing. Yeah. So the kids have like, so she wants to take up their tutelage. She's the one as the teacher. She's taking care of them, everything. And then she sends out a letter for an advert as a request for help. Oh, the help! And they show up, and alas, it does not pan out well.
No, I actually love that little reveal though, where she's like, she finds out some way somehow that like the letter that she put, the advertisement that she put in the newspaper actually never got sent out. Yes, which is like it's those little kind of like, ooh, like this movie just kind of gives you the willies. There's no like, oh, it's a ghost. You know what I mean? There's no, and like I like Anne's description, the very 1920s, 1940s description of a ghost, where it's like.
A shroud and
chains. You know, I love that. And then like she even kind of uses that where like Nicholas is like, oh no, I don't believe you. He's like, they're not wearing chains and shit like that, and she's like, fuck what I fucking said, go fucking over here.
That was actually one of the things that really did creep me out, is
they're right there.
They're right there. And they were like, the kid was like, but you said. I was like, fuck what I said, just get over here. And then the kid, like, you just see the fear dawning on his face.
Oh yeah, this kid is genuinely terrified for this whole movie. I love it.
It was so good. And the fact that the one thing I seem to remember, and I was sort of expecting it in a strange way, that after Nicole Kidman like fires 2 rounds into them and she goes, don't worry, the tuberculosis did away with us.
I didn't like that
half
line.
A century ago or something cheesy. Like that. And like they stood at the door, and he's on one side and she and the mute are on the other, and looking through the windows. And I don't know why, but I half expected them to do the shot where they just
it's the Dracula going through the web
door.
Yeah, exactly. I expected that too.
I don't know why I remembered seeing that, but they didn't, and I was kind of disappointed.
Just you expect ghosts to walk through walls,
because she full on grabs the handle and tries to open it, and she goes, "Mom, let us in."
I actually saw a thing the other day though where it was like, I think it was Bob the Drag Queen was talking about that. I always bothered him as a kid how ghosts can walk through walls but don't fall through floors.
Yeah.
You know? I actually think like in Ghost they kind of make a point of that though, where he's like, why the fuck can't I pick anything up, you know?
Yeah,
it's like
you
have to like appear.
Yeah.
You have to be an apparition or whatever. But the religious talk in this movie,
oh my god,
I'm obsessed, because like it's weird because Nicole Kidman, like I said earlier, could very much so be played like a Margaret White or like some zealot freak asshole, but like she's not. She's just a Christian, I believe.
Because this is Edwardian times that she was around for. So this is during.
The Queen hadn't become the Queen yet.
The Queen hadn't become the Queen yet. This is Edwardian times. So this really is an era where
it's turn of the century.
It's turn of the century. It's Christianity really was still a major part of society in terms of school education, in terms of jobs. People. God was literally up in the sky and all that jazz. Just to provide context for that time, because she plays this sort of teacher / priest / mother type deal.
Everything. And like this house is so big, and that's the thing where I think like they don't ever like play you against Nicole Kidman. They always do have you feel bad for her. Like even if she did what she did, I still don't look at her as like the villain. I still see her as like the ultimate victim in this movie, and everybody else is kind of suffering because of how she's suffering. I
would disagree, and I would say the children are the real victims in the film.
No, as a bitch. Grow up.
No. That's purely circumstantial as to a child reacting to something the way she acts around her mother. But
no, that little kid is an asshole, and that little kid is the whole reason why
Nicole Kidman literally murdered her 2 children and then shot herself.
Yeah.
How is she the victim of this circumstance?
Depression is a hell of a drug. You know, those kids were like relatively unaffected by everything.
Because they didn't know they were dead.
But they were alive at some point. You know,
wow.
Like Nicole Kidman is fully a victim of her own circumstance. Mm-hmm. You know, like she's trapped on this island. Like she said, she grew up on this island, and her whole
God damn it, she'll die on this island.
But seriously, she said like her whole family left, and she never saw them again.
Yes.
And then she was with her husband or whatever, and he also just fled. She's like, you actually like didn't need to fight in that fucking war.
Yes.
Like it actually had nothing to do with this. There is no reason for you to go there. You know? And then like, I just, like the kids don't sell me like, oh, we're sad and like, fuck this. Like the kids just act like kids. They don't act like kids in the middle of World War One. Do you know what I mean?
But also like you have to remember they're also like the well-off part of aristocracy. So
but
they're not going to be very around.
Aristocracy
likable.
only matters if there's other society to be there.
Oh
there's no
fair
point
enough.
Like being rich only means shit when you have stuff to spend money on. Nobody fucking gives a fuck about money if there's nothing around. Because so basically my reading of this is that like these people are stuck in purgatory, not limbo, because limbo is for I was going to say unvaccinated children. I almost said it again. Unbaptized children. But also, I love that she's like trying to lie to the kids about the Bible, and they're like, "But we're reading the Bible. Like you can't judge shit." She's like, "I actually heard that limbo is for." I almost said uncircumcised for unbaptized babies, you know? And she's like, I've had mine. I've seen it.
So, like, we should establish the way the rules of this sort of ghost universe work, I think, because it does help sort of establish why things are happening the way they're happening.
It's old school ghost. It's old school kind of European, Anglo-Saxon kind of ghost, where it's not necessarily somebody walking around because they have unfinished business. It's just kind of
They don't
People
know
died
they're
here.
dead.
People died here. I mean, but that's kind of the twist, though.
Yes.
You know, but also it's not like a, haha, aren't we so clever?
Yes.
Kind of thing. Like, it doesn't
Yes.
throw it in your face in kind of an M. Night Shyamalan kind of way, which I do sometimes kind of enjoy. But this
Yes.
movie is, like, very, very subtle. So that means, like, when they want to amp you up, they really don't have to do a whole lot at all.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I really appreciate that. But it's just kind of, people died here in a tragic circumstance, and they can't move on. And now they're trapped here. But also, she killed herself and murdered her children. So it's one of the 4 hells, she says. Like,
Yeah.
they're in hell. They're never going to move on from here.
Mm-hmm.
Pain, children, pain until the end of eternity. Flames on the side of my head.
It's not just for a few days. Oh no. Oh no.
You're gonna burn, you know, cunt! Not you, Nicholas. You're lovely. But also, Nicholas is, like, doing too much. Like, okay, just, like, grow up a little bit. It's fucking World War One. Don't be such a fucking pussy.
So I will say that the lighting itself...
What are you, a little boy or something?
I will say that the cinematography of this film and the lighting, the way it's done, is done extremely well. And
Made by almost exclusively candlelight sometimes.
I really do, and just natural light, of course, meaning
Yeah.
that, like, even like the fog itself that surrounds the sort of area that they're living in is kind of obviously for 2 reasons. A, because they kind of don't have the budget for anything else outside of that, because it was only done on 17 million, and B, it acts as a barrier between the world of the living and the world of the dead.
Yeah, she can't go anywhere. That's where, like... But also, even before that, we kind of get the sense that she is agoraphobic or something, because she's, like, the whole thing... So the kind of jump off to this, the off-screen jump off, is, like, the servants, her original servants, just... She says they just vanished into thin air. They leave in the middle of the night. They didn't even collect their wages.
Yeah.
But she's like, they know I can't leave the house.
Yes.
Because it's like the children can't leave the house because of sunlight, at least in her mind. But also, like, there's nobody else there.
Yes.
Like, she can't just leave the children. Because it's like the children are young enough that, like, they can't just, like, cook their own food. Like, Anne, I think, is probably, like, 10. She's making her communion.
Yeah.
You know? So that's, what, like, second. Like, Nicholas is, like, a little ass
I'd say,
boy.
like...
He's probably, like,
7.
5.
I'd say
Yeah.
7 or 6.
I'd
6
say
or 7.
7 at the most.
At the most, yeah.
But he's, like, very much so, like, her kid brother, and she's also still, like, a child. I do love her, though, because she's kind of the... And I'm talking about... She's kind of the, like... I don't want to say the, like, conduit, but she's kind of the one that, like, can see the ghosts. I myself am strange and unusual. I'm a little bit of a freaking prick.
Yeah.
But, because she's the one that's, like, conveying all the information. She's the only one that, quote-unquote, can see the ghosts.
Yes.
'Cause she's the one terrorizing Nicholas, not the actual ghosts. Because Nicholas never complains about having seen a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
It's always Anne, like, fucking around with him or whatever. There's actually one little reveal later on in the movie where Nicole Kidman is, like, kind of coming around to the idea. I think her name is Grace in the movie. She's kind of coming around to the idea, and Anne shows her this drawing, and she's like, that's Victor, and that's the mom, and that's the dad, and that's the old lady, and she scares me, and it's like, what are all these numbers? And it's like, the amount of times I've seen them,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like 14 or something like that, and it's like, oh!
Yeah.
This poor little girl, and she's the only one seeing them.
Yeah.
You know?
And, like, the thing is, like, what I always found was really interesting about it was
Oh, you
how
did?
staunchly Christian Nicole Kidman's character is. And when
she's
it comes
clinging
to
that.
yeah, she really does. And what happens is when the ghost sort of, like, sightings and things start to appear for her kids, because it's her kids first who see them,
Intruders.
she goes, like, it's not ghosts, it's gotta be the caretakers trying to scare us off the property so they can have it.
Yeah.
Or it's other people who have broken into the house or whatever. But she doesn't, even though Anne is continuously saying, like, hey, listen, look, it's ghosts, I'm not lying, I'm saying it on the Bible, you know, I'm swearing, blah blah blah. She still doesn't believe them, and it takes the first few sightings for her to believe it as well, even though she's supposed to believe in these things as a Christian.
But Christianity...
As a Christian.
But Christianity does not just say, yo, believe in ghosts.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like, also, if my child was like, oh, there's ghosts in here, I wouldn't be like, my first instinct, A, would be to have an abortion at 4 weeks.
Oh my god.
No, but like, my instinct would not to be like, yeah, come on, yeah, there's totally ghosts.
Yeah.
Versus it being like, okay, well, there's 3 new cunts that just moved into my house, and now there's like fuckery going on. Like, I'm not immediately just going to go to ghosts, even if I do believe in God. But like, you can tell kind of her Christianity is not starting to like waver, but she's starting to like, well, there is ghosts in the Bible. She's kind of starting to like come to weird grips with it, you know. But then all of this, like, again, I always get into like the implication of a movie where I'm like, in this movie, God is real.
Yeah.
Cherubim are real. They talk about it and all this kind of stuff, and then that means like the devil is real. You know, like the same with The Conjuring, which also I feel like sticks to kind of very classic ghost story. There's not a lot of kind of fucking around. There's not a lot of twists. It's just very haunted house. There you go. That's it. Actually, no,
times 5.
Actually, no, there's like a witch who gets possessed.
Yeah.
Because she sold her baby to the devil and curses whatever. But
it's a whole thing.
Yeah. But I love it though. I love it. Like, she has the whole thing of like grab your rosary and squeeze it with all your might. And I actually used to do that when I was a kid. Not necessarily pray the rosary, but like have your little like, I got to be brave, you know, kind of thing. For like poor sweet little Nicholas, who just looks like a ghost.
True.
Nicholas looks like a little Victorian ghost.
That face, that boy, the huge eyes. Do you know, because it was shot in Spain, that the 2 kids, they were forced to stay inside in order to maintain their pale complexion, because the younger of the 2 who played Nicholas, he was tanning very quickly in obviously the Spanish sun, so like they were literally required to stay inside for the entirety of shooting.
Well, that makes sense
crazy.
though. Like, this little kid looks like a porcelain doll.
Yes,
like, it's insane. Does. He's all just that like inside of an eggshell color all over. I fucking wish. But so at one point Nicole goes to, we're just gonna call her Nicole because they actually only call her Grace once in the movie.
Yes,
and
then
the
they go to
whispers
Mom or Madam. Yeah.
Mommy. But at one point she's like, right, fuck this, I'm going to get the priest to bless this house. Sorry, we're kind of just jumping all around here, but I feel like this is one of those movies it would be very boring if we just went scene by scene.
Yeah, you might as well just watch the film if you're going to do that.
Yeah, like there's a lot of in-between moments that are like very good, a lot of good like dialogue and stuff. But at one point, and she looks so cunt when she leaves the house, because she has like all of her outfits are like, she looks like a Dior sketch.
Yes.
Like, she's got like these like straight shoulders that come down into this upside down triangle shape into her waist, and then just like straight down
plumage
with like a pilgrim shoe though, but it was World War One.
But she's got like this silk kind of violet coloured
she throws around and wears it as a hood,
and
this like huge coat / like gown. It's gorgeous, and she's like stomping out or whatever, and then she gets to the grounds of the house, and then she gets like just outside the gate, and the fog just thickens to the point where you can't see like anything. Like, you can't see even like
jelly brains.
like, you can't even see like a foot in front of you.
Yeah.
You know, my logic is like, just grab onto a tree and just get to the next tree, but there's nothing.
Yes.
Like, it's purgatory.
It's scary.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And then we hear like footsteps and stuff, but they're like far away. It actually takes a long time for us to see the husband, and the husband comes back, but he's just like PTSD all over the place, like to the point where it's actually kind of annoying.
What I do love about him is when they talked about a ghost in shrouded sheets and chains, you can literally hear chains as he's walking toward her.
Yeah, for
which
sure.
I love, that subtle hint that he is a different type of ghost to what they are.
Yeah,
I love that subtle hint, because
he was killed.
He was killed in action. He is obviously there's moments there where I'm guessing what happened was her longing as a ghost to see him was so strong that she pulled him out of hell for only a few moments, because he's in hell. He's a war ghost. He's killed people. He's going straight to hell. Yeah,
I do love her little explanation later though about like, what does God think, and she actually doesn't say what I kind of remembered her saying was like, and like, this is kind of the ethos for like most wars, is like, kill whoever, God will figure it out later.
Yes.
Like, if they were good, they go to heaven, and if they're not, then you did the right thing.
The goodies and the baddies.
Yeah.
And then the kid is like, who
Daddy
do you
was
know?
on the side of the goodies, because he was very brave.
Yeah.
There's lots of whispering. It's all very, like, intimate. It's almost a very ASMR kind of movie.
And she often goes on about the fact that she has extreme migraine episodes. And
she
that
does this,
silence
like, a
is
bunch of
something. Yeah, silence is something we value very much in this household. You'll find, but she never once throughout the entire. I mean, obviously she's dead, so she's not going to suffer from a migraine. So like,
she takes tablets once.
Oh yeah, but
and then she throws them down the sink the next time. Down the sink that looks like just a slab of steel with a hole in it.
Yeah,
like, it's so crazy. This house looks like it honestly looks like the inside of Castletown House or something like that. Like, it's so.
I love how
Regency.
What they do is they make the house seem so big at the beginning, like from door to door, room to room, locking up, moving to the next hallway and everything.
Like,
and
running for several minutes to get to the other side.
Yes, you know? But by the end of the film, it literally looks like there could be just one room.
Yeah, just a regular
it's like a cage. But I looking back at it now, it's kind of obvious why they wanted to do that, because the truth was beginning to set in, and this house is not their house anymore. It's their prison.
This is Beetlejuice, but scary.
Yes, it is. It really is. I mean, and there ain't no sandworms in here this time.
It's kind of the plot. Actually, no. There's one there's one scene that I think it's kind of one of the only like. That CG as fuck shots. It's where Nicole Kidman at the end of the seance, she picks up the pages, and I'm like, they only show it for like maybe a second,
only a brief,
but it's like
moments.
It's giving Harry Potter CG.
Yeah,
you know. But also, this came out 2001, and they literally have one shot of it. Like, even that fog, that is CG for sure. It's seamless. It doesn't seem like a.
It doesn't seem
crack
like
up the fog machine.
Boom, it's
like,
there.
Yeah, it's just this weird like
aura,
engulfing, just like ghost and white. And even we were talking about the husband. He like sounds like he's got chains and stuff like that. Later on, we see Anne in her communion dress, and that's a shroud.
A shroud.
She's dressed as like classic, like sheet ghost.
Yes,
I love, and that scene is so creepy.
We might as well talk about it, because I think out of everything, this is the scene I've probably seen the most. So it's the
scene.
least frightening of everything that I've seen.
Like the communion dress.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Because like I love the way it's the other way around, where it said, "You're not my daughter," and it makes it look like the old woman ghost, quote unquote, is possessing her. But it was actually the girl possessing the old woman. Yeah. Because that's how we find that out in the end. We get this huge exposition dump at the end, which I really kind of did not like.
From Nicole.
No, from Jon Snow's mother.
Oh, no, I didn't mind that. Also Hermione Granger's mother.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
But yeah, this scene was, out of everything, it was the least frightening for me. I mean, when I was younger, when I seen it, I didn't know what the fuck I was looking at. No. I'm talking about the girl when she's So like when I was younger, I would have found that I mean, like, obviously I don't find it frightening now, but like back then I would have, because I didn't know what I was looking at. I was like, I know that the girl, because like she's super small and tiny, yet she's an old frail woman.
It's the hand when we first go in and we see the hand, and it's just the kind of, there's like this weird I don't even know what the instrument is, but there's like a weird sound cue, like when we get into that scene where it's almost silent. You know, it's just the girl kind of. This is in Scary Movie, I think 3, and it's Michael Jackson.
She is your daughter.
No, it's like what is it? It's like what did you do with my daughter? And he's like, gross, she's a girl. Which also, no joke, that scene scared the shit out of me as a kid, because the implication is that aliens were wearing Michael Jackson as a suit, which is creepy as fuck. You know? But no, it's when she walks in and we see Nicole Kidman has kind of been embroidering something onto this, because it just looks like a plain, like a plain veil. There's no like embroidery work on it or anything. Yeah.
She's been working on it,
and she's like whip stitching. She's not doing like front to back. She's literally like,
hey Bling, does this dress look homemade? I reckon when you finish it, it won't.
And the dress is actually gorgeous though. It's got all this kind of like weird ribbing on the front of it, this like horizontal ribbing that goes all the way down the front. And she does look like a little princess or something like that, but she's like she wants to kind of stay in it an extra couple of minutes, and she's like, no, don't, like, you can stay in it. I'm gonna lock you in this room.
But don't sit down. Don't lean against the wall. Yeah.
And she actually does precisely that. I'm saying she brought it on her fucking self.
Yeah, true.
Oh, and you're getting smothered.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fucking kill you now.
Grace literally knocks the shit out of Anne.
You're not my daughter.
She like literally like the one thing I always find about was the way the firelight was bouncing off the silvered eyes.
The eyes, yeah.
Oh god, that was the only part about the scene that I did find creepy.
That
was
old
just
medium at the
those
end is
eyes.
surfing cunt.
Yes,
she's got like a side part with the like
1920s,
and it stops right there.
She died in
It's
2014.
right there.
And she got to 99. God damn it!
I'd be fucking livid.
I would be livid. I'd be
keep me on
livid.
life support for the next day. I'm 10 and 100 tomorrow. Seriously, Betty White and everything. Betty White was literally like a week off 100.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, sorry, Renee Anderson's. It was her final movie role. She was like famous stage and film actress. Like,
I've never
she
heard
went
of
right
her.
back to like 1935. She was 85 at the time of filming.
What was she like back then, Nathan?
She was glorious on stage. My era of the Golden Girls. But passed away in 2014 at the age of 99. I'd be livid. I mean, I'm 110, but you know, who's counting?
Boo-hoo.
It's my special day.
But no, I think I don't know what I fucking think. Where the fuck were we?
Well, you see, this scene was, out of everything, it was I've seen it the most, so it was the least scary.
The communion.
Yeah.
Okay.
But when it comes to the subtlety of scariness, I think it's not so much like, there's jump scares to me just do not frighten me anymore. They don't scare me, and it's cheap waste for people to be like, oh my god, it was the scariest film I've ever seen, and they might.
I mean, but that is you being scared. You're just,
yeah,
like, it's not like lingering fear.
But like, I think we even discussed at the beginning where it was more so done with atmosphere. It was more so done with lighting or subtle camera techniques.
Well, this is the only scene where we have an outrightly ghostly apparition. We actually don't see anything ever except for this. This is the only time where we're like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah.
It's the only time where we actually get anybody that isn't the two kids or the housekeepers.
Well, you
or
see,
Grace herself.
the one I was about to reference was the one lingering shot where Grace goes into the storage room and she goes in there with the gun.
That's the scary scene in the movie.
Yeah. She walks in there. And she, it's dark, but she reopens the blinds, but the shot doesn't go to her. It lingers on the dark painting.
The painting at the back.
And then they just slowly open up the curtains, and then it's revealed that it's a painting. And that was the only one that really did make me... Because I didn't notice it at first, and then as she walked away, I was like, oh my fucking god, what is that?
I also didn't remember it. It's one of the only ones that I didn't remember. The painting is actually called The Wounded Cavalier.
Ooh.
It's by William Shakespeare Burton. The face of the painting is Eduardo Noriega. Yeah, it's from 1855.
But I think it is done obscenely well with the shots, the everything. Like, I gotta give it to Javier, and I could really, I'm just reading this.
No, I want you to say it in the widest voice you possibly can.
Javier Aguirre Esarobe. Maracas. Yeah, but now I could have butchered that name, honestly. But honestly, it has to be given to him because the way he creates claustrophobia in this film and how it works is just done so well. And this guy has done quite a few things, actually. He did Operation Finale, which is the Netflix film that is about the what's his name? The capture and the trial of the guy who was the mastermind behind The Final Solution. He did Thor Ragnarok, which is really surprising. And The Road. I like The Road. The Road is a good movie. That was the one with Viggo Mortensen, where he has to take the kid across nuclear fucked up America.
Why that year was there like 5 movies exactly like that? There was like The Road, and then there was like Eli, and then there was like...
I liked Eli. Eli was a good film.
But it's the same fucking movie,
yeah, it's
except
the same
it's Denzel instead.
Yeah.
But this scene where she goes into that junk closet right over there, this is the one that like oh, it's so creepy because she goes in and it's just like, again, very classic setup where it's like a storeroom and everything is covered in sheets.
Yes.
And there's some things that are kind of vaguely human shaped, and then there's like, it's just all these white sheets everywhere, and the room is like relatively small. But she goes in, and like we're under the assumption that there is somebody in this room.
Yes, because you can hear them breathing.
We hear them breathing. Like it eventually gets there, but like I don't know why my logic was like going where I was like, okay, I've walked into a room where I know somebody's in here, but I can't see them. In my mind, that means they're hiding, which is so much scarier than just walking in and finding somebody there. But we hear like, she's here, she's in, she's here. Like just all these whispering, and they're coming from kind of. Is that rain?
That is rain, darling. Oh. She is everything right now. She's doing this during a recorded podcast of a ghost movie.
But there's like, I'm wearing silk and just had my hair blew out.
Damn.
I know you hate when that happens.
I know.
But no, she's walking around and all these voices are coming from kind of every direction. And like, honestly, I encourage you guys to watch more horror films with headphones in.
Yes.
Because there's the idea of being able to hear, like, okay, the voice is coming from over there or whatever. It really, really adds to it. But this scene really fucking gets me. I don't know why. Because it's so simple and it's like, it's kind of been done to death. Yes. Almost, but it doesn't feel like that. It's not like it's this scene.
Yeah, this felt fresh as fuck to me because like there's this one shot where she hears the kind of the voice from behind her
after you hear breathing at first.
Yeah, and she just kind of swerves around to see who it is, and the camera just kind of juts toward her.
Yeah, and
like she literally feels someone brush by her.
Yeah, we see like
and
kind of
like, oh my god,
yeah,
it's so scary, and yet like you didn't see anything.
I was gonna say it's Jaws rules. It really is less is more because it's like you only can imagine. You know, like what it is, and I suppose we even get the creepy kid drawing in this, but it doesn't feel
forced,
cliche yet. Yeah, you know, which is weird. Like even in movies like older than this, I might see that and be like, ugh, like of course, you know. But like I don't know why something about this movie feels different. But it's she like bumps into stuff and then she feels like a hand and it's like this wooden Jesus and then she just kind of goes mad and starts like
ripping
pulling everything off and and then we see the mirror and the door is just it's not just ajar, it's like becoming ajar, like it's still open or whatever like that. But Anne is on the stairs directly facing this and see, this is why I think Anna's the secret little bitch and deserves to die. Because she's like, oh, they went over there and there. Oh, and down there too. Like, she's literally just taking the piss or whatever. And it's like, you couldn't have said nothing. You couldn't have said one thing. Well, I'm here literally trying to save your life, lady.
Well, I literally got to give it to them because these, they spent, the budget was just a little over 17 million.
Yeah.
And they grossed over 200 million in the first 4 weeks.
Yeah, I remember this movie being big.
It was absolutely huge because up until that point, 2001, so like you had like all the slasher genre that was kind of more so taking off in horror, and this just really did, and it brought back the done to death English ghost story myth kind of thing.
Yeah,
and it sort of revitalized that genre. I really got to hand it to him. But I gotta give it to the set design people, Emilio Ardura and Ellie Griff, because these like
they didn't just film in the house.
They didn't just film it. They set this place up so well that you just feel like you are imprisoned. Like
fame is a prison.
Like it's just really, really fucked up.
Yeah.
And but we gotta talk about the 3 caretaker people, because they're the sort of how do I explain it? They're sort of the MacGuffin, they're the smoking gun.
They're anybody but the people that live here.
Yeah,
you know, they're our only kind of outside connection to the outside world, I guess.
Yeah,
but also not really. These people have been dead for like 50 years or something like that. Like they died when TV was a thing.
Their costume is...
Because, like, you got TB. That's so embarrassing.
I'm sorry. I'm so embarrassed I got TB. But,
my children are allergic to light, so...
So you have Sonia Grand, who was
the mute girl,
the costume designer for the film,
Uh-huh.
and she actually worked with obviously the director before, but also with Pedro Almodovar, all of these sorts of things, like, and then Midnight in Paris. You have Habla con ella. Like, you have all of these films that
You have been waiting. You have been waiting to pronounce some Spanish words on this fucking podcast.
Just you wait. Just you wait until we actually do a very
We're
good,
going to do like the Devil's Backbone or
yeah,
something
just
next.
you wait, Pan's Labyrinth, some shit like that.
Uh-huh.
Just you fucking wait. You will hear it. You're gonna get it. But she does
She's
it
from
so...
the countryside. She's from the Irish countryside where they
And
grow
Malaga.
potatoes.
in El Monte Allora.
You're from Enfield in Meath.
So yeah, this costume designer made the conscious decision to subtly hint at obviously their clothes being half a century in the difference between Nicole Kidman and them, because the caretaker, who is
The black potato sack.
yeah, she, oh my god, she does so well. Sorry, I have to just get up this person, because she's Fionnuala Flanagan. She plays Mrs. Mills.
So Irish.
Then you have Eric Sykes, who plays Mr. Tuttle, and then you have Elaine Cassidy, who plays Lydia. These three people...
Just got paid to show up on set and say nothing.
Nothing.
She just got to stand there and wear clothes.
the thing about the costumes, as I said, like the subtlety was she didn't want to immediately give away. Unless you have a really good eye, you would know immediately that the clothes that they were wearing are 50, 60 years older.
And they could just be outdated.
And they could just be
it's
outdated.
Not a spoiler.
But it's a very subtle hint at what she was saying or what they were doing there, because the kind of gag with Lydia, who is the mute of the trio.
There's always one.
She found when she had discovered that she had died, she just stopped talking.
The dead usually do.
And she just decided not to. So you have this sort of constant. I think Grace asks Mrs. Mills, I think about 3 or 4 times, why she has stopped talking.
Why did Lydia go dumb?
And yeah, did you think that was weird? And she goes, why is she dumb?
No, not why is she like when you're deaf and dumb, it
say?
means you can't speak or hear.
No, but like the way she said it.
She's like,
I was just like,
what made her go dumb?
I can't remember what
go
you
crazy,
said
go stupid.
or exactly how you said it, but I know by the way it made me feel that it didn't make me feel good.
Huh?
Calm down, Ganj.
I hear you. Yeah.
No.
Not
Hold up,
I'm
bitch.
deaf,
I did
because
not.
I'm dead.
But yeah, I really did appreciate the subtleties that were used in this film to sort of communicate these sort of otherworldly, just everything, all the otherworldly aspects. You know?
She's even correct though, because Nicole is like this. These kind of things don't just happen for no reason. They only happen when you go through some kind of trauma. And I'm like, okay, come through with the kind of forward-thinking medical science in like 1910 or something like that, and you're like, she's almost fundamentalist, but she's not a crazy religious lady. She's a crazy lady who happens to be religious.
Yeah.
Do you know? And that's what I'm saying. That's why I feel bad for her in this movie. She's not just like she's not fucking Jason Voorhees. Like, she's not just like some psycho killer. It's like she like broke psychologically, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't take it as I killed the children out of frustration. My kind of headcanon for this is like I'm gonna spare them the horrors of Nazism and war and their father's gone and all this kind of stuff, you know? So
I do think personally, after like sort of seeing this film, I do think that
my hair is so tragically wrapped up in this bobbin. It's actually a fucking joke. I'm at the point of just ripping it off.
I do think that the film is also a study with like almost psychological depression, because
about the chaos.
But to have chaos. The way this film portrays the mother figure with postnatal depression, with dealing with the grief of her husband, dealing with the stresses of being on her own with 2 kids and not knowing what to do with them. Wow, you just ripped off a whole chunk of hair there.
I can afford it. It's fine.
So I do think just beyond the sort of surface level ghost scares, I do think the message is a little bit stronger with this film than there is in other ghost films, because at the end, when Nicole Kidman is just sort of sitting there, and she was like, I did this and I did that, which also explains why she woke up at the beginning screaming, because she'd thought that, which is why she also, it also makes sense as to why she suddenly looked relieved, because she must have thought it was a dream.
Yeah.
And she was upset by that, but then obviously she realised she remembers everything. She just
and that's why I feel so bad
it.
for her, because she didn't just like, man, fuck these kids.
Yeah, she didn't snap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They hint at it every once in a while, where Nicholas like is kind of in defense of Mummy. He like doesn't want her to kind of look bad, I guess, or at least like remember the day. But Anne remembers the day.
Yeah.
Where Mummy went mad, you know, and then the dad quote unquote comes back, and she's like telling the dad about what happened, and he's like, and that's the thing. I felt so bad for her in that scene, because it's like when he first shows back up, and she's just like she can't even like believe it that she like sees him again, because she said it was a year and a half ago that he went away, but like we know that it's been longer. Like it's been way longer than that. You know, it's like almost possible that like Nicholas was like has like never left this house.
Yes,
you know, it's like he was born in this house, like, because he's like we said, like kind of 5, 6, 7 at most, you know, and like time is like weirdly non-specific in this movie, you know, like
there's day and night, but pretty much beyond that it's just every day is fog.
It's all dark.
And the one thing is I love that the fact is that Mrs. Mills, sorry Mr. Tuttle, but
Mrs. Mills!
I'm at the end of my tether here.
I was gonna say there's a couple of moments where they have her kind of pose as like a villain, but like in like a you could have said less than that. Like, I get that you're plotting against her. You didn't have to be like, well, I've had enough now, so
we'll just have to go fill out the graves and show them.
Sure, look, I'm sick of this, so says I. You know, it's very that. Like, she's so. I mean, her name is Fanula. That's so fucking Irish. But like, also Mr. Tuttle or whatever like that. I love how like unsubtle he is. Also, why would you try and bury things in leaves?
Yeah,
they're leaves.
They're leaves. Yeah,
you know, just take the gravestones away.
Yeah,
just literally pull them out.
Yeah,
you know. But also, would she never ever have known? Like, if you've never actually seen the graves that aren't just off in the woods somewhere, they're directly in front of the house. The children can see them from their
bedroom window.
Yeah, for real.
It's under a dead tree of all things.
Very Sleepy Hollow.
I loved that tree. Did you see that? Like right next to the like next to that little pond that's there. Love that
in
gorgeous.
One shot is just like a huge like sprawling like lake almost. Yeah. It's fucking crazy.
I do think that the one thing, obviously, that gives it away is the death portraiture that repeatedly shows up.
I love it.
Now, this is something, in case our dear listeners are unaware of it, the death photographs were actually a common practice in the 1800s.
Memento Mori.
Memento Mori, and remember you will die. Photography was still rare and expensive at the time.
No big deal.
Still.
I know you
families would often take a picture of a loved one when they died.
Yes.
So they would have at least one picture of them.
The opposite of the Aboriginal belief that if you get your photograph taken, it'll take your soul away.
Take your soul away, yes.
Versus it being, it'll preserve your soul.
It'll preserve you. Believe it or not, there's a photograph, and I actually have it here. It's still very creepy practice. Believe it or not, some people still do it. Yeah. Alejandro Amenabar briefly appears as a corpse in the film. As one of them. He appears on the bottom right, which I think I'll stick up on the Instagram. I think it's a really kind of cool little extra tidbit. But Would you do this practice? Would you like to get like your photo taken? When
Yeah,
you
I'm
die?
fascinated by the idea of doing that.
I'd love to do it too.
Like, I hate the idea of, like, also, I'm just, it's
but
so
do it
vain.
in the best way possible.
It's
not
so
just
vain.
like sitting there on a bed, like
Well,
sleeping.
like, I already told you, I want, like Catholic catacombs level of decoration when I'm dead. I want, like, a shroud with, like, jewels and shit all over it, so that, like, when I die, I'm fully okay with being exhumed to be decorated after the fact.
Yeah.
You know, wait a couple of years for all the, like, juice to, like, leach out, and then just, like, rhinestone the shit out of my skeleton or whatever. You know? But I would totally do this, though. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of weird when you, like, pick other people to take photos of when they're dead. But, like, if I could be like, yeah, go on.
Yeah.
If I knew I was going to die or whatever like that, I'd be like, hell yeah.
I think, I honestly, I'd like to do it. Now, obviously, the best thing about it was, the irony was the photographs that were taken, when the families did take pictures of themselves with their loved one, they would obviously be slightly blurry because the camera would needed to take a longer exposure.
Yeah, you
but
gotta
the person
sit there
who was
the
dead
whole time.
would never move. So the person who died would always be sharper.
Yeah, they're not going
in
anywhere.
the image, than their loved ones around them, which made the image really weird looking.
Yeah.
I'll stick a few of them up. I think they're really creepy and interesting, weird little photographs. And actually, that was a part of the plot in what's that one? The Haunting in Connecticut. Do you remember that one?
I do.
Yeah. Insert audible eye roll here.
It was bad. I remember like being kind of. It was like one of those movies where you just kind of check your phone in the middle, you know, how long is left in this thing, you know.
I also want to say, you know, the caretaker, Mr. Tuttle, he was named after George C. Scott's character in the 1980 haunted house, that classic, The Changeling. Yeah. He was named after that, which is an extra little tidbit.
They're actually just a new Changeling movie just came out. The one I remember is the old one. Guy and his daughter in the red ball and the stairs.
By the way, this film is 20 years old this year.
Yeah.
Oh, no. 21 years old this year.
Which is fucking... It's actually sick when you start to think about this.
It's almost as old as I am.
Like, I remember vividly, like, how this movie came into my world was... Yeah. My mom rented it on DVD in the little square Extravision box, the little black box with the like teal cover or whatever. And I remember seeing like the title and just being like, "What the fuck is that?" And like my mom is like not a horror person, but like has good taste in horror. Like I like what she likes. Yeah. Like her favorite Nightmare on Elm Street is the third one because it's the best one. But I remember her being like, "You can't watch this. Like, don't watch this." And this is one that I would like. But I want to though. And honestly, I think like had I saw this when I was a child, it would have bored me. Yeah. You know, because like not a lot happens. We actually don't see anything at all.
Yeah, I think you have to be a little bit more. You have to be with. It was like watching The Witch.
Yeah. There's nuance to it.
There's nuance to it. You have to be a little bit more mature to kind of get. Where the director was trying to take the film in a direction.
Yeah, you understand like artistic value and stuff rather than just like, where's the monster? Yeah, because I want to see the creature.
When I went to see The Witch with a lot of friends, now I went into it blind. I hadn't seen the trailer. I just saw the title and the poster, and I was like, okay, cool. I know it's a horror movie. I'll go see that. And I was like, cool, guys, let's go do that. Walked in and this is the first time I'd ever heard of like Robert Eggers, A24, all that type of jazz, and I was gobsmacked. I loved that film, but literally walked out of it and everyone else hated it. And it was like, where was the scary stuff? And I was like, but that's not the point. It's the atmosphere.
You mean when she was making an onion, when we saw her feel up a baby and then grind it up into a paste and rub it all over her? You didn't like that? Or perhaps when the little boy throws up an apple and then does a whole...
come to Jesus moment.
Yeah, for real. Emma also, I remember kind of...
hey, Emma.
She telling me that she watched that.
Shout out to
and
you,
she didn't like it. You know? But also, again, it's
I think we just have different tastes.
But I was going to say, it's kind of an acquired taste, because it's like, it's slow. Again, we don't really get to see much. A lot of it is implied. Yeah, we actually do straight up get to see a witch, but like, it's not like a, hey, here I am, here, get a good look. Actually, it is that. at the
Well,
end.
no, it's not a green-skinned,
No.
Wicked Witch of the West type witch.
Which
It's
is weird.
a-
I feel like that movie has so much more influence than people think.
Yeah.
Like, because witches weren't depicted as green until that movie came out.
Yeah.
Or with, like, the hook nose and, like, that
and the
whole...
wart
Exact...
and the chin out to here.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and the, like, whole silhouette. It's, like, that's, like, kind of where the modern witch look comes from or whatever. But, like... Yeah, The Witch was fucking excellent. It really, I can't wait to talk about that.
Yeah,
that'll be very.
We're
very
gonna do it. We'll do it. But like we digress. The point is that this film, as we were saying earlier, the others is definitely an acquired taste. It is, if you're happy with jump scares like It or or a slasher movie, things like that.
You get some of those in here.
You're going to get.
They're peppered in.
But you'd still be disappointed.
You're not going to see them coming.
You're not going to see them coming. They're more. They're not going to make you jump out of your seat, but they are going to really kind of creep you out.
I was going to say, this whole movie is just all.
It's all atmosphere.
All atmosphere entirely. Yeah.
And it's done well.
It's all the kind of like it. It's weird because the soundtrack doesn't tell you how to feel, which I feel like. It's effective, but also I feel like it's kind of lazy to be like to hike up the strings,
yes,
and then scare somebody, because it's like, well, I started getting scared then, and then like you told me something was about to happen, but with this, it's genuinely like, what's gonna happen when she goes in this room, like that. It holds that the entire time.
Yes,
it's not just used for like 5 minutes or whatever.
Well,
and I really appreciate that. I think it's very skillful.
It is. It has to be recognised that it is done extremely well, and it's done in a very artful way, but not in the pretentious artful way.
No, and having this been probably like the 10th time I've seen this movie, it still gets me.
Yes.
It's so dumb. I love it.
I would also say that, well, speaking of atmosphere, that Amenabar also often played scary music on the set to get everyone in the mood.
Yeah.
And it got to a point so much where Nicole Kidman walked off set many times and had nightmares and shit often because of it. She actually quit once. I mean, obviously she came back, but she quit once because of these factors.
I was gonna say, apparently she begged the Weinsteins, Harvey included, which is always weird. It's stop touching those girls, because there's so many of my favorite movies that are like a Miramax or like a Weinstein Company something, and then he pops up on screen and it's like a
there's you again.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of different to like a Roman Polanski, where it's like, okay,
Polanski.
I only really like Rosemary's Baby. That's like kind of the only, so I don't have to feel too bad about that. But apparently she begged to be removed from the movie. She didn't want to do it because Moulin Rouge had also just come out the same year, and she was like, I don't really want to go from bright, colourful, glitzy, coughing. She had TB in that movie.
Yeah,
she sure did. No, that's fine. It's healthy. It's healthy cough blood.
The servant walked over and was like, "Oh, it's you. You know."
It is
you
her.
Know.
Moulin Rouge is a prequel to this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it actually could be timeline wise, no joke. Actually for real. But she kind of was not in the mood for this. But this is I mean, I don't have many favorite Nicole Kidman movies, but it's kind of this and Eyes Wide Shut.
Yes, she did actually. She won that year. She won Best Supporting Actress as Moulin Rouge.
Oh, I thought you were going to say for this.
No. But she knew she did want to kind of push for a winning Best Actress.
Yeah,
with the others.
They showered this thing with awards.
Yeah, they did. They did it for everything. What is it? I was received high acclaim, especially for a horror film. It was nominated for 2 BAFTAs. And won 3 Saturns. Best horror film, Best Actress for Nicole Kidman, Best Supporting Actress for Fiona Flanagan. She was also nominated for the Golden Globes for the Best Actress in a Drama, but she lost to Sissy Spacek for In the Bedroom.
Oh.
And then
I like Sissy Spacek too.
She was nominated for comedy musical category for Moulin Rouge. So she did win that one, which means she knew immediately that she wouldn't win Best Actress at the I can't remember, is it the Golden Globes or some shit?
It's been done, Nicole.
Yeah, so, like, I mean, but, like, she did really, really do well. And, like, your heart does go out to her and the kids at, like, what they're dealing with and what they're going through.
It's a tragedy.
It is a huge tragedy that this film, yeah.
Like, they don't exploit it in any way. It's not like a, like, see how sad their life is or anything. It's just like a, oh, God.
Yeah.
Because there's a couple of times I remember, it's weird. This is one of those movies that made me think, like, in weird ways, where I'm like, there's at one point where she, like, checks her watch. She checks her watch a couple of times in this, and I'm like, I can just imagine her thinking, like, okay, well, it's almost 8, and then we'll go to bed at 9, and then that'll be today over. But
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, but then you got to do this same thing again the next day. Like, Anna's never going to actually make her communion. Nicholas is never going to grow older. Like, you're never going to leave this place.
Yeah.
I mean, it's better to be there than to be in, like, some, like, crappy little apartment or whatever. But, like,
Yeah.
it's
I
just
do
the
wanna
idea of just
say-
being stuck there, like, for eternity.
Yeah.
They're never, ever, ever going anywhere else, which is, it's just terrifying.
I do want to say that for eternity, the fact that they are doing that self-affirmation, like, this is our house, over and over again at the end, was, it tells me more about where their characters are going.
Sounds like something that goes
in
to
the future, you know? Because it like, yeah, that's exactly what happens, because it moves away from the kids to just empty rooms, and all you can hear is them whispering, like echoey ghost whispering, like saying, this is our house, blah blah.
So sad.
And I love it.
Yeah,
but
it literally is the plot of Beetlejuice.
It is it's just not a comedy,
but made by Tom Cruise.
Well, speaking of a
Beetle
comedy,
Cruise.
Hum Con Hai, that is the Hindi Bollywood remake.
Oh yeah, all the time.
The Others that was released in 2004, and it's like, literally, girl, look at this. Look at that poster. Look at that.
That's Nicole. Who the fuck is that?
I have no idea.
Oh my god. Who the fuck is it? Who's playing her?
No.
Do you know what? Maybe one day.
Maybe one day. But actually, speaking of kind of remakes, you know that they've given the green light to do a remake of The Others.
I've actually heard this a couple of times over the years. I don't think you need it, and like that's the thing. I'm also not. You guys know me. I'm not on the side of like fuck remakes, but like
this film,
I think there needs to be like
it holds up.
There needs to be like a recontextualization. Like, also it's like a period piece. Like nothing has changed from A to Z. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, this wouldn't benefit from like an update or anything at all.
Yeah.
But you know, like they say shit like that all the time. We're supposed to have gotten a Creature from the Black Lagoon movie since like I first got on the internet, and that has never happened. Shape of Water doesn't count. It doesn't.
Oh yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. Well, it does. In October of 2020, it was announced that Sentient Entertainment would be producing the remake, set in modern day now, mind you, which I don't
like, because then there's
like that idea. What is that? Like, honestly, like you said, it's a period piece.
Like, they're living without electricity in this movie.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, they even said that it's like they learn to live without electricity.
They have electricity, they just don't use it.
To use it. But the thing was that really irked me. It was like, if you're setting it in modern day, how are you going to?
Then it's just any ghost story.
It's just any ghost story,
Poltergeist,
and like,
or whatever.
exactly, it's Poltergeist. It's this, it's that, and also how are you going?
And that's no shade. Poltergeist is literally our namesake, but you know what I mean. It's like, it's a different thing.
But like, you have a look at it and you go like, how are you going to A, live up to the name of The Others, and B, how are you going to change that
you
twist
just got
around?
so pissed. You just cocked your neck at that. But see, it's weird. I don't think
how are you going to change the twist?
But see, I don't think a lot of people consider this kind of a classic. I think it's kind of cult in a way. Like, I don't think, like, if you asked like 200 people on the street, like, give me your top 10 horror movies, I don't think a lot of them would say this.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of small, it's not huge, it's not a franchise. It's kind of, I don't want to say indie, but like it actually kind of is, because it's Nicole Kidman, starring Nicole Kidman, produced by Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I don't know. I don't know. Also, I think like ghosts have now taken the place of where zombies did like 5 years ago, where it's like, okay, enough. move on to something else. I think we're actually slowly moving into a werewolf kind of phase in horror, because there's been, in the last 2-3 years, there's been kind of an increase in werewolf movies, and it also happens every once in a while, every couple of years. The 80s was obsessed with werewolves, and then we didn't really get anything for a long time, and then before that, werewolves were big, just leave ghosts alone for now. No, but for real, I think Paranormal Activity came out, and that was the last shift, the last big shift in horror.
Yeah,
I feel, until very very recently. Mm-hmm. And I think okay, just it's kind of done. It's kind of played. Give it another 10 years, and then start moving back into ghosts or whatever like that. But I don't need another haunted house. There's only so many ways I think you can do ghosts. Or if you're gonna do it, do something different and really have me be oh shit.
Yeah,
this is the Sixth Sense from the other side.
Yeah, you see, I would totally agree with that. If you're going to do something with ghosts, do a perspective that's never been done, or just try and reinvent the wheel, because even she said in the thing, ghosts are meant to have shrouds and chains, and then they realize they're not. They're just normal people who have passed on. So you need. I would want that moment as an audience member to be the same as Nicholas, and just have that fear dawn on my face, oh fuck, I would want that, and if I don't get that, it's just another ghost movie.
Yeah. I think ghosts are it's weird to not, it's I feel it's very hard to make them fresh, because I think ghosts are kind of the original monsters, every culture and we'll actually get into are we in the 3rd week of Ghost Week? 2nd? Okay. Have you picked what you're doing next week? Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
Yay!
Are you going to say?
I have one more thing to talk about, but...
Okay, no, but I mean, are you going to announce next? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So, after that, I'll just say, this slab, we're going to round up with Ghost Month. So we'll kind of get into how different cultures see ghosts and what different ghosts represent for certain people or certain cultures and things like that, which I think is the way to go for ghost movies. Absolutely. Is get away from the people died here and now they're still here kind of thing.
Yeah, I think...
Go into The Devil's Backbone, something like that.
Yeah,
have them represent something else.
I really do appreciate what the others did for ghosts. They totally reinvented what we see as the death shroud, or the glowing white kind of spectre thing.
We get nods to that as but it's not super Anne doesn't come out literally in a sheet with 2 holes cut in it. She's just wearing the communion dress, which is gorgeous. It looks like a saint's.
But I do think the trope of them just being normal people but dead has been done to absolute death by American Horror Story.
Oh, that's what made me stop watching it. Was I'm sick of ghosts.
Stop going back to that storyline, Ryan Murphy. Please,
also, ghosts
for the love of God.
Just means that it doesn't matter if anybody dies because they're ghosts.
Yeah. I
actually was thinking that in Charmed, where their mom and their grandmother are always coming back as a ghost, and it's why does it even matter if anybody dies then? Yeah. Where's Prue? Yeah. Where's the other sister that died? You couldn't pay her for. That's not the sign language for pay. But where's Shannon Doherty? Alyssa? Yeah.
So I do think that give me something new or don't do it at all. Let the older pros who have freaked us out in the past just keep freaking us out with what they have already done.
Well, no, they're all dead. Well, all the old pros are dead. Literally, all of them are dead.
No, I just mean with what they produce. I mean,
but all we have is John Carpenter.
I would rather watch the others than I would watch Paranormal Activity. You know what I'm saying?
All we have is John Carpenter left of the Masters.
Yeah. But I will say that this film does stand the test of time.
Yeah.
It's still creepy. It's still shot beautifully. Nothing has aged,
because it's simple,
shall I say, in this film, where
except that one shot at the end of the paper floating up, but that's because it's 2001.
Yeah.
They had no choice.
But I mean, you also had The Lord of the Rings that same year, so I don't know.
Yeah, but The Lord of the Rings is the next evolution in this.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? But also, you had Jurassic Park fucking like 7 years before this. That's why, like, I always
Yeah, but it
pisses me
was
off.
on a budget of 17 million. It's not.
So it's a piece of... You couldn't put a piece of string on a piece of paper and do this with it. You have to do a CG piece of paper.
So, yeah, I really do think it's worth every minute of watching. And if you haven't seen it, honestly, go see it.
Did we even reveal, like, the actual
Yeah,
end?
we did. We already said that they were dead the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah. Spoiler for a 21-year-old movie.
That shot at the end, though, is very sad, where it's the three of them standing in the window, and then we see Victor and the family kind of go off, and they kind of just fade out. And it's like, oh.
Yeah, you see, like, it's sort of they're committing to futility in deciding to haunt.
Boo!
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they realize that, especially like after what Mrs. Mills says, like, there's been others and there will be more, and there will be more again and again, and they will keep coming.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll notice them, sometimes you won't feel them at all, and all that kind of thing. And I think that's really interesting, because to me, like, they're literally looking down at them, because sometimes they did see them. They saw that family leave, and then others, they just see that that fog realm, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really kind of interesting perspective on the imprisonment.
So Anne herself is strange and unusual.
Yeah.
Like, Anne can see them, but
Yeah.
Nicholas can't. And neither can Nicole, really. Nicole!
So,
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
next week, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it, because it's getting closer to my special day. So I get to pick a really, really fun movie, and this film to me it means so much, because when I hear Ghost,
You relate. You feel seen.
listen,
Representation matters.
honey, listen.
Pussy, listen. I only watched that video again the other day.
Pussy, listen. No, this I like. Pussy, listen.
Pussy, listen.
Pussy, listen. So, like, when I think of Ghost, this is the only image. Well, not the only. It's the first image that pops into my head. I'm going to bring you guys
Tell him the fucking name.
The Fog by John Carpenter. Ooh. So I'm very excited to talk about this film, because this was, I think probably the first John Carpenter film I probably ever seen. And then it was like Prince of Darkness or something like that. And then
Not Halloween?
No. I didn't see. I saw.
Oh, you saw the
Halloween
fourth one
4
first, yeah.
long before I saw the original. So, yeah, I'm just so excited to talk about this film, because this is the film that, like, set off the horror genre for me.
It's your Scream.
It's my Scream. It is just such a fucking awesome movie, and I'm very excited to talk about it next week.
Actually, a little, like, fun fact, before we actually ever even started this podcast, I think before we even named it what it was called, we recorded, like...
Oh, the lost episode?
Girly. If we ever...
Untucked.
If you're not watching Untucked, you're only getting half the story.
Pussy listen.
Pussy listen. I think, like, if we ever set up a Patreon or something like that, we'll throw this episode up if we can. But, like, I recorded, like, 15 minutes of talking about Scream, and you recorded 15 minutes of talking about The Fog. But it was like, we were both so nervous.
Oh, it was honky tonky, wishy washy chunky.
It was ookie spooky, ding dang doogie, hallowookie. It was rotted. It was bad.
It was gutted. It was
rotted.
Moorish. It was moorish.
It was awful.
But we loved it, and
I think this is a full circle moment.
It is a full circle. This is a full circle moment for you.
Oh, speaking of The
Fog,
Fog,
what would you say to your younger self?
Pussy, listen. I love it. No, the shot is the fact that it's her just walking into shot, going, "Now, pussy, listen." You know?
And then she just can't do it.
Yeah,
she
can't
just breaks character
at all.
So,
So, yeah, that was The Others, 2001.
Even the words, the Tower of London. Okay, yeah.
So, yeah.
We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks for listening. You were listening to They're Here podcast.
We also could have done Poltergeist.
We could have, but we can do that next time. We can do a
Poltergeist and
month.
ghosts are different.
Yeah,
though.
they are.
Freddy
They're
Krueger
completely
is not a ghost, he's a poltergeist.
A poltergeist, yeah.
Well, they're different. They are different.
No, I just imagine Freddy Krueger in that priest costume going, ah!
Oh, no, do you know what? It's actually the one we've got the most done of is the Nightmare series, and the next one we have to do is Nightmare 3. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we have 2, yeah.
I actually can't wait to get to Nightmare 3.
Oh, that's going to be a good one.
Those first 3 are like some of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
I love the whole series as a whole. We could
On
just
the
like
whole,
we could
it
just
does
like
feel
fade out
good,
here.
doesn't it?
But like no, yeah, I'm actually excited to get through them because it's not as long as I think people think. There's only like 7 of them.
And then there's the episodic thing. And...
Oh, nobody talks about Freddy's Nightmares, which actually just became available for streaming for the first time, like, ever. Like, this, like, month or something, I think. It's trash. It's terrible. But Robert Englund is in it as Freddy.
And he does a good job.
So that was terrible.
Make sure to subscribe, like, comment below, let us know what you think.
You know what it is.
You know what it is. Do the thing.
If you've seen one Instagram post, you've seen them all.
You've seen them all. Follow us on Instagram for some daily updated content and some monthly topic discussion selections. So make sure to listen out for those polls, get to vote, and
if we're feeling it,
we'll see you next week. Will we?
Yeah, I guess.